I walk out of every scene like this shot. Just when I have to go to the bathroom or going to get the pizza rolls, I'll be right back. We are live on the YouTube streaming. Hi, I'm Tom Britton. Over there, which side is he on? Is Jonathan Pritchard. We co-host a show together called The Seance. We're watching, I forgot the name of the movie, Nosferatu. 1922. This is one you kind of want to talk over. It's an important film, but I don't think it's maybe, it doesn't burn. It's got really cool stuff in it, and then it's German noir filmmaking. Feel free to grab a kazoo and make your own soundtrack at home, or if you could beatbox, you get a whole remix of that.
Or if you have a cat that's very needy and because of 2020 has become even more neurotic and attached.
What happened was the director really wanted to just make Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was the goal. I'm going to make Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I'm going to try and get the rights. And then in true artistic fashion, I can't really get... Well, we'll just start making the movie. Fix it in post. And so he starts making this movie.
Build it on the way down. It'll be fine.
Better to ask forgiveness than permission, I guess is also the phrase.
So was this one of those things where they were just shopping the script around and two production houses were like, this is a good idea, and one of them got the real rights, and then the other one said, we still want to do this, so we'll do the knockoff version, kind of like Doomsday or something. Like, there were all sorts of... Universal and the other company would make the same movie but call it something different with different actors every summer, right? Is this kind of that?
It's the first iteration of... The other problem is that Bram Stoker really only made money off of Dracula, and his widow, her only income was residuals, if you will, from Dracula. So what you had is kind of a one-hit wonder whose wife is trying to stay alive, keep making a living, and all she can really do is closely guard this one precious jewel. Had Bram Stoker been just more lucky in his hits, she might have been a little more relaxed, because even at the time this was well reviewed. It was seen as a nice piece of art and a new medium. Here comes our hero.
Right.
Our protagonist.
We're
and
in.
A sucker. He's a sucker in this one, just like he is in the original novel.
Is this the him that the credits were referring to? Because it was his wife.
Yes, and there's his wife.
Got it.
Yeah. And then Count Orlok will be very obvious when he makes his appearance.
I'm upset that they didn't credit the cat, because
you'll notice the sepia for day. This film is trying to make it very clear this is daytime, new tech, and when it becomes nighttime, and that's very important in this film, right? You're going to see a complete shift in color tone. And so it's a very kind of strange thing.
That's amazing that even with black and white, you can still play with the tone to denote daytime warm, nighttime cool. That's really interesting. That
from plays where you would have done that on the stage with lighting, you look at this is shot just like a play. I mean, here's a close-up insert, but that wide shot is just two actors on a stage, right?
Also, I want to call out the chat room, because at least two people that I could notice commented that the cat is dead now. So
or is it?
A lot, you joyless harpies. That is amazing. It's undead now. It's undead. It'll unlive forever. Undead. Yes.
Okay, here's something unusual about this film. You're going to see outside shots, which are very hard to do back then, and this would have blown your mind at the cinema. If you're sitting there in 1922...
The lighting is different, a cloud passes, and suddenly all the exposure's wacky.
Yeah. And well, also the idea of how did they even get a camera outside? Like, that was as an audience member, you'd be like, whoa, that's not a... So that's very different from every other movie at the time, is that the director's pushing the camera outdoors.
One of my friends, Brian Brushwood, had a brilliant insight that every art form is applauded for looking like what it came from when it begins, and is made fun of for looking like what it came from as it advances. So movies look like a play, because very straight on, very arranged, like this is a stage play, and the camera is static, and the audience goes, I know what I'm looking at. This is like a stage play, but no people. And then nowadays, if we made something like this, you'd laugh at it and be like, what are you doing here? That's ridiculous. You're not using film the way that film can be used. So I thought that was a really cool insight.
And this style of acting, too. I mean, this is an actor who is trained to hit the back of a theater with every expression, and that works really well in early days of film. And then once actors kind of learn what close-ups are and insets are, that acting, it's too much of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have, I think it was someone like a Douglas Fairbanks type, a very swashbuckling silent movie actor who had a high voice in real life, and he couldn't make the transition to the talkies.
Right.
So someone who was perfectly suited and looked like this one, just happened to have a high tenor or maybe a lisp or something, a speech impediment. Their entire career, Al Jolson's the jazz singer, comes out and they see their entire career crumble in front of them. The same thing with this character actor, who, by the way, is playing a character who will go insane. If you ever read the Bram Stoker novel, the rat guy playing in the asylum with the rats and talking, my dark lord, I hear you. So already you could tell from the makeup, a very hammy makeup, very hammy character, and the director is telling him, go big, go big.
The lapels so much, like that is.
See what he's gotten though? It's a cursed missive.
Oh, okay, got it.
And cursed eyebrows, very, very cursed eyebrows.
Very haunted eyebrows.
Oh, those eyebrows have seen some stuff. Ooh.
The bigger the eyebrows, the greater the magical powers. That's the magician's rule.
It's the Gandalf rule. Just seeing Houdini on film would be amazing. Yeah, seeing how that man moved will surprise you. Like, the athleticism is remarkable. You see a little bit of what they saw on stage back then that made him so damned famous is captured on the film. And that's why I think it's a shame that the films overall weren't good movies, because Baby with the Bathwater, there's real moments of joy and real moments of gold in those Houdini films as well. Just the same, I'd argue this. I'd argue I could make you a 20 or 30-minute cut that wouldn't tell the story correctly, but every shot would be like him coming out of the coffin and the elongated shadow, and then some really nice, the stuff on the ship and the ship sailing away and the coffins being run, and you would kind of get the gist of it. You know the story of the vampire.